Dear beloved friend, this early morning finds you standing at the edge of a world still wrapped in quiet light, when the sky has only begun to lift its veil and the first breath of dawn whispers across the earth. There is something sacred about this hour, something the noise of the day cannot touch. The world has not yet awakened, but your spirit has. In this gentle stillness, you are not alone. You have been led here with purpose, drawn into a moment where heaven feels closer and the heart can finally breathe. Perhaps you come carrying a story that weighs more than you let others see. Maybe you have been wrestling with fear or grief that follows you even into sleep. I think of a woman waking in the dark long before sunrise, her hands trembling as she reaches for her phone, not to scroll but to silence the thoughts that rise like a storm. Her job was uncertain, her home felt fragile, and her nights were filled with quiet tears. She never spoke aloud. She said she felt like she was falling through her own life, unable to catch hold of anything solid. Yet one morning, in an hour much like this one, she whispered a simple prayer. It was not eloquent or long. It was the cry of someone who had reached the end of herself. And in that honest whisper, something shifted, not all at once, not visibly, but enough for her heart to know she had been seen. Her story may not be yours, but the H might feel familiar, the heaviness that settles on the chest, the silence that feels louder than any sound, the fear of another day that looks like the last. But here you are, not by accident, not by coincidence. Something deeper has drawn you awake while the world sleeps. A quiet invitation has been placed on your spirit. The dawn is not only rising in the sky, it is rising in you. This moment is the doorway to a sacred journey, a journey where your burdens can loosen their grip, where your breath can steady, and where your heart can find a refuge stronger than any storm. These morning hours have always been a meeting place between the human and the divine, where the soul learns again that it is held, protected, and deeply known. Prayer in this hour is not a ritual. It is a lifeline. It is the place where fear softens, where faith awakens, and where hope begins to breathe again. So as the horizon brightens and the world slowly stirs, I invite you to open your heart wide. Bring your doubts, your wariness, your questions, and your quiet dreams. Let this be more than listening. Let it be a conversation, a returning, a gentle step toward the one who has waited for you in the stillness. You do not need perfect words. You only need willingness. In this morning light, trust that every whisper of your soul will be heard. When you are ready, let us take the first step together. Dear Heavenly Father, in this early hour my heart wakes with a weight I can no longer ignore. The world around me is quiet, but inside me there is a tremble that has followed me through the night. I come to you without pretending to be stronger than I am, without trying to hide the pieces of me that feel fragile. I come because I need you, because I cannot carry the heaviness that rises with every breath. I stand in the dim light before dawn, and I feel the mix of fear, longing, and quiet hope that pulled me from sleep. Something in me knows that this moment is sacred, that this stillness is calling me to be honest in a way I have avoided for far too long. I bring to you the truth that I have tried to bury under routine and distraction. I am tired, more tired than my body alone can explain. My thoughts have been looping, my confidence slipping, and sometimes I feel as though I am walking through a fog with no clear path. I admit that I have been afraid of what comes next, afraid of losing what little stability I hold, afraid that I am not enough for the challenges waiting ahead. I confess that fear has shaped more of my choices than trust has. I am not proud of that, but I refuse to hide it from you. In this hour before the sun rises, I choose honesty over appearance, truth over pretense, surrender over the illusion of control. Father, I feel the ache of moments when I tried to fix everything on my own. I replay conversations I wish had gone differently, decisions I made out of pressure instead of wisdom, moments when I let fear dictate my words or silence. The weight of it all sits heavy on my chest. I do not come to you demanding answers. I come asking for nearness, for the comfort of knowing I am not walking through this darkness alone. I come asking that you steady my trembling heart and breathe into the places that feel empty. I come because I need to be reminded that even in the shadows, you see me, and even in my weakness, you do not turn away. As I stand at the threshold of this new day, I admit that I do not feel fully ready for it. I feel the tension between who I want to be and who I have been. I feel the gap between the faith I speak of and the doubt I carry quietly. Yet something in me still reaches for you. Something in me believes that even a small whisper can reach heaven when it comes from a sincere heart. So I place my fears before you, naming them not to be defeated by them, but to release them into your hands. I let go of the idea that I must be perfectly strong to be held by you. I let go of the pressure to understand everything. I let go of the belief that my uncertainty disqualifies me from your presence. Father, I ask you to meet me here in the vulnerability of this moment. Let your peace soften the tightness in my mind. Let your presence settle the restlessness in my spirit. Let your gentleness speak louder than the noise that has filled my thoughts. I ask for the grace to begin this day not by running, not by hiding, but by standing still long enough to feel you close. I ask for the strength to breathe deeper, to trust longer, and to believe that the dawn rising outside my window is also rising inside me. I ask that you take this fragile beginning and turn it into something steady, something grounded, something filled with quiet courage. As the first hints of morning light touch the sky, I choose to open my heart wider than my fears. I choose to believe that I am not abandoned, not forgotten, not unseen. I choose to believe that the weight I feel now is not the end of my story, but the place where you begin to lift me. I choose to believe that even if I do not see the path clearly, you are guiding my steps. I choose to believe that there is purpose in this waking, that there is meaning in this hour, and that there is hope woven through the silence. Father, take this moment and make it holy. Take my trembling and make it steady. Take my doubts and make them stepping stones. Take my fears and make them places where your strength can rest. I begin this day with a heart that is honest, open, and reaching for you. Let this be my first breath of morning, my first act of trust, My first quiet declaration that I will not face this new day alone. As the horizon slowly brightens and the world prepares to wake, I allow myself to rest in the promise that you are already in every moment ahead of me. I release the fear of what I cannot control and the pressure to be more than I am right now. I choose to step into this day with a tender kind of courage, trusting that even small steps matter when you walk beside me. Let this quiet beginning shape the hours to come, and let my heart stay open to the gentle ways you will speak. Guide and steady me throughout the unfolding of this new morning. And as I breathe in the cool air of this early hour, I choose to believe that healing can start slowly, quietly, and deeply, growing within me as steadily as the rising light. Father, as my heart rests in the quiet courage you began stirring within me, I step deeper into the honesty that gently rose in the last moments. The first light of morning has barely touched the sky, yet something inside me is already shifting, pulling me to name what I have avoided, to speak with clarity instead of hiding behind vague emotions. I feel the weight of unspoken truths pressing forward, urging me to bring them into your presence without hesitation, without fear of being dismissed or misunderstood. I come carrying the parts of myself I have kept tucked away, the corners of my heart that have held worry, shame, and memories I have not fully faced. Lord, I acknowledge that some of the heaviness within me has come from refusing to look directly at what hurts. I have allowed old wounds to linger in the background of my days, shaping my reactions in quiet ways. I have carried fears that whisper to me when the night grows still, telling me that I will fall short, that I will lose what I love, that I am unworthy of peace. These quiet lies have built walls around my heart, and I confess that I have let them remain unchallenged for too long. In this tender morning hour, I no longer want to hide from these things. I want to open every closed door inside me and let your light spill into places I have kept dim. God, I bring before you the specific pains I have avoided speaking aloud. I bring the disappointments that hardened me, the moments when I felt overlooked, the words that wounded more deeply than I admitted. I bring the habits that crept in when I felt empty, and the thoughts that led me into cycles I wish I had broken sooner. I lay before you the guilt I carried quietly, the regret that lingered in the background of my choices, and the patterns that felt too tangled to unravel alone. I do not come to condemn myself, but to acknowledge what is real, believing that nothing brought into your presence remains the same. As I speak these truths, something within me softens. The tightness in my chest loosens as I allow myself to be transparent. I sense the beginning of release, not through forcing strength, but through letting go of the need to appear unbroken. In this sincerity, I feel your nearness settling around me like a gentle reassurance. It reminds me that honesty is not a doorway to shame, but a pathway to freedom. I do not have to fear being exposed, for you meet me with compassion, not criticism. Lord, let this clarity deepen within me. Help me see the roots beneath my reactions, the reasons behind my hesitations, the hidden emotions that shaped my steps. Let this be a moment where truth becomes a friend rather than a threat. Give me courage to sit with what surfaces instead of running from it. Show me that every emotion, every memory, Every fear becomes lighter when placed into your hands. As the morning light grows, I choose to continue opening my heart. I choose to trust that you hold space for every part of me, even the ones I struggle to accept. I choose to believe that naming my brokenness is not weakness but wisdom, the beginning of healing that reaches deeper than I expected. In this quiet hour, I surrender the urge to perform, to hide, to minimize what I feel. I offer it all to you, believing that this honesty will lead me into a freedom I have not yet fully known. Let this unfolding truth guide the steps ahead, shaping me gently and steadily as the day begins. And as I remain here in this unfolding honesty, I realize how much of my life has been lived in quiet tension, trying to balance the image of being composed with the reality of feeling overwhelmed. I acknowledge the moments when I smiled while something inside me was unraveling, when I stayed silent to keep peace, when I pushed myself past my limits because I feared disappointing others. These layers of pressure have settled on me over time, shaping thoughts that were never meant to guide me. I bring these burdens to you now, believing that what has shaped me does not have to define me. I ask you to help me release the habit of carrying everything alone, the pattern of hiding my hurt, and the reflex of pretending nothing affects me. Father, teach me to recognize the quiet signals within my own heart, the subtle shifts that tell me when I am overwhelmed, when I need rest, when I need support. Help me stop minimizing my emotions or dismissing my own needs. Let this morning mark a new beginning, one where I honor truth more than appearance and seek healing more than perfection. Let me learn to be patient with myself as you work within me, trusting that growth can be gentle, steady, and slow. Remind me that nothing is wasted when it is surrendered to you. Not the tears, not the fears, not the mistakes I would rather erase. Let every part of me be welcomed into this moment, so that every part of me can be restored in time. In this honest unfolding, I choose to believe that you are meeting me with understanding and tender strength, guiding me toward a deeper wholeness that begins with simply being real before you. Dear Heavenly Father, as I linger in this quiet morning and feel the honesty of my heart widening, I sense a deeper pull drawing me toward the place where true repentance begins. The dawn is still gentle, and the world has not yet reached for its noise. But inside me there is a stirring that invites me to step closer to the truth of who I have been. I feel the remembrance of choices I made out of fear, of moments when I turned away from what I knew was right, and of times when I let weariness speak louder than wisdom. These memories rise not to shame me, but to bring me into a fuller surrender, one where I no longer hide from what needs healing. I bring these moments before you because I am ready to face them with courage, trusting that you meet me with mercy rather than judgment. Lord, I acknowledge that some of my deepest struggles have come from the quiet compromises I allowed to settle into my days. I remember the times when I ignored the gentle nudge of conviction, telling myself I would fix it later, only to find that later rarely came. I think of the words I spoke too quickly, the choices I made without prayer, the habits I returned to out of convenience, and the patterns that slowly dulled my sensitivity to your presence. These memories come with weight, yet I do not want to avoid them. I want to hold them in the light of your kindness, believing that true repentance is not about condemnation, but about returning to the path I wandered from. Father, I bring before you the moments when I acted from impatience, frustration, or wounded pride. I bring the times when I resisted forgiveness because holding on to offense felt safer than letting go. I bring the excuses I used to justify my own stubbornness and the times I chose comfort over obedience. In naming these things, I feel a soft ache, but I also feel a quiet relief. There is something freeing about no longer pretending, about letting my heart unfold without hiding the parts I wish were different. I come not as someone defeated by failure, but as someone longing for renewal. Someone who knows that healing begins with truth. As I reflect on these patterns, I feel the beginning of release, as though the weight I carried in silence is finally finding a place to rest. I feel your nearness drawing me toward a deeper cleansing, one that reaches past the surface and touches the inner places where motives and desires are shaped. I sense you inviting me to let go of the stories I told myself to avoid change, the reasons I used to remain the same, and the fears that kept me from growing. This invitation feels gentle, not forceful, like a whisper that reminds me I am safe to surrender. Lord, help me turn fully toward you in this moment of clarity. Let my repentance be more than words. Let it be a shift in direction, a soft turning of my heart back to where peace flows freely. Teach me to release control, to stop gripping the things that harm me, and to trust that letting go is not loss but liberation. Show me the habits that need to be uprooted, the thoughts that need to be reshaped, and the desires that need to be purified. Give me courage to walk in a new way, even when the old patterns feel familiar and easy. As the morning light strengthens, I feel a deep longing to be made whole. I want the parts of me that have been fractured by fear or pride to be restored. I want the dullness that crept into my spiritual life to be replaced with sensitivity and warmth. I want the heaviness I carried to give way to a steady confidence rooted in your grace. I ask for a cleansing that reaches into my thoughts, my intentions, and my hidden motives. Let this be a moment where the old loses its grip and the new begins to rise within me. Father, I offer you every part of my heart that has resisted surrender. I offer the corners I kept guarded, the walls I built out of self-protection, and the doubts that quietly lingered even when I professed trust. I offer the memories that still sting, the choices I regret, and the moments when I acted from woundedness rather than wisdom. Let this offering be the beginning of transformation, a sign that I am ready to walk forward with a heart softened by truth, strengthened by grace, and steadied by the hope that comes from turning fully toward you. In this gentle unfolding, I choose to believe that repentance is not a doorway into despair, but an invitation into deeper freedom. A freedom that reminds me that nothing I confess separates me from your love. I choose to believe that the tenderness I feel in this moment is a sign that you are drawing me closer, shaping me quietly, and preparing me for the healing that follows honest surrender. I choose to believe that this soft turning of my heart is the beginning of renewal, the beginning of a clearer path, the beginning of a steadier walk that reflects the work you are doing within me. Let this morning mark the moment where truth becomes my ally, and where the quiet courage to be real becomes the foundation for the transformation you are bringing into my life. Lord, as the quiet of this morning deepens and the soft turning of my heart continues, I feel myself stepping toward a place of refuge I have long needed, but rarely allowed myself to enter. The nearness of repentance has softened me, and now I sense you inviting me to rest in your protection, rather than in my own efforts to stay strong. The air around me feels gentle, as though the world is holding its breath while something inside me shifts from striving toward surrender. I am aware of how often I have tried to shield myself with my own strength, thinking that if I stayed alert enough or guarded enough, I could keep disappointment or pain from reaching me. Yet those defenses have grown heavy, and they have not kept me safe the way I hoped they would. This morning, I want to step out from behind them and seek shelter in something far greater than anything I could build for myself. Father, admit that I have relied on my own resilience for far too long. I have pushed through exhaustion, masked my vulnerability, and convinced myself that I could overcome every storm by sheer determination. But even the strongest determination cracks when the heart grows weary. And I feel that weariness now. I feel the places where my attempts at self-protection created distance rather than safety, where I closed myself off to avoid hurt and only ended up feeling more alone. I bring these defenses to you because I no longer want them to shape my life. I want to learn what it means to find real refuge, the kind that steadies the spirit and quiets the mind. God, I picture myself stepping into the shelter of your presence, a place where I am not required to hold everything together. In this moment, I imagine laying down the armor I forged out of fear, the walls I built out of caution, and the restless watchfulness that kept me braced for what might go wrong. I release the pressure to anticipate every outcome or prepare for every possibility. I allow myself to believe that I do not have to be the one who controls the storm or predicts the next wave. I allow myself to trust that refuge means resting, not resisting. It means leaning, not bracing. It means letting myself be held without apology. As I let this image settle, I feel something within me ease. The tension across my shoulders loosens, my breath deepens, and I sense the quiet assurance that you are not asking me to be invincible. You are asking me to be honest enough to come inside the shelter you offer, to let my guarded heart exhale, and to believe that safety in you is not fragile or fleeting. It is steady, constant, and wide enough to hold every part of me, even the parts that have trembled for years. Lord, I ask you to teach me how to dwell in this refuge rather than visit it only when desperation pushes me here. Help me make this place of safety my daily home, the place where I return before fear rises, before stress builds, before I reach the edge of my limits. Let your presence be the covering I wake under, the peace I walk within, and the strength I lean on throughout the day. Show me how to recognize the signs that I am drifting back towards self-reliance, and gently draw me back into the steadiness of being sheltered by you. Father, I know there are parts of me that still resist this rest. Old instincts whisper that if I relax, I will become vulnerable, that if I stop evaluating every possibility, I will be caught off guard. But those instincts were shaped by seasons of survival, not by truth. I ask you to help me unlearn the reflex of bracing for impact. Help me release the idea that staying tense is the same as staying protected. Help me understand that true refuge does not demand constant readiness, but invites quiet trust, steady breathing, and a heart that settles into the assurance that you are near. As the morning brightens, I let myself imagine what life could feel like if this refuge became the ground I lived from. I imagine waking without the familiar weight of dread, moving through my day without the quiet hum of fear beneath every thought, and facing challenges without feeling alone. I imagine a steadiness that does not depend on circumstances, a peace rooted so deeply in you that no unexpected moment has the power to shake its foundation. I long for that steadiness, for that quiet strength, for that kind of peace to become the rhythm of my days. Lord, let this morning be the beginning of a new way of being. Let me learn to rest in your protection with the same instinct that once kept me guarded. Let me trust in your covering more than I trust in my own vigilance. Let me believe that I am safe, not because I can predict everything, but because you hold everything. Let me walk into this day knowing that I am sheltered, supported, and surrounded by a presence that does not falter. Let this sense of refuge sink deeply into me, shaping my thoughts, softening my fears, and reminding me that I do not walk into any moment alone. In this growing awareness, I choose to remain within the safety of your presence, letting it steady me as the day unfolds, trusting that this refuge is not a temporary pause, but a place where my soul can finally breathe in freedom and quiet assurance. Father, as I settle deeper into this quiet morning and let the sense of refuge spread gently through my spirit, I begin to notice the thoughts that rise and swirl beneath the surface. Even with the comfort of your shelter around me, I feel the familiar movement of worries trying to regain their place. Whispering scenarios, stirring questions, and tightening small corners of my mind. I realize how quickly my thoughts can drift into tension, how easily concerns about today or tomorrow can steal the peace you are beginning to grow within me. So I come to you now not to hide those thoughts, but to name them honestly, trusting that you will teach me how to lay them down rather than carry them alone. Lord, I admit that my thoughts often run faster than my faith. I find myself imagining every possible difficulty before the day even begins, rehearsing challenges, anticipating conflicts, or bracing for disappointment that has not yet happened. These restless thoughts shape the tone of my days more than I intend, and they pull me away from the calm you offer. I bring these anxious patterns to you, not with shame, but with the hope that you can help me understand them and release them. I do not want fear to write the first lines of my morning. I want your peace to settle into the places where my mind has been unsettled for too long. God, I lay before you the worries that have followed me through the night. I bring the concerns that tighten my breath, the responsibilities that feel heavy on my shoulders, and the questions that turn over in my mind without answers. I bring the quiet insecurities that rise when I think about the future, the doubts that whisper when I face new challenges, and the quiet fear that I might not have enough strength for what is ahead. I bring all of this to you because I believe you care about what burdens me, even when those burdens seem small or scattered or difficult to explain. You see the thoughts I struggle to articulate, and you understand them before I speak. As I place these worries before you, something inside me begins to loosen. I feel the first traces of calm touching the edges of my mind, as though the simple act of naming my fears in your presence allows them to lose their grip. I sense you inviting me to breathe deeper, to unclench my thoughts one at a time, and to trust that I do not need to solve everything before the day unfolds. I feel you reminding me that peace begins not with answers, but with presence, not with certainty, but with trust, not with control, but with surrender. Lord, show me how to quiet the storm within. Teach me to recognize when my thoughts begin to spiral, so I can return to you instead of letting them carry me away. Let me learn to pause before my mind races, to breathe before worry grows, and to listen before fear becomes loud. Let this be a morning where I choose stillness over striving, gentleness over panic, and trust over anxious imagining. Help me replace the restless questions with simple truths that anchor me. Father, I want to learn to cast my anxieties onto you, not as a one-time act, but as a rhythm, a steady releasing of every tension as it rises. I want to trust that you catch what I release, that you hold what I cannot, and that you see what I cannot predict. I want to walk into this day without the quiet tightness that often follows me, the tightness that comes from trying to be strong in places where I am meant to lean on you instead. Let this surrender be slow and steady, a gentle emptying of what crowds my mind, so there is room for your peace to settle deeper. As the morning grows brighter, I begin to sense a shift. The worries that felt overwhelming feel lighter when placed into your hands. The thoughts that chase themselves in circles start to slow. The fear that tried to rise loses its authority as I choose to trust the one who holds my life. I ask you to guard my mind throughout this day, to steady my thoughts when they drift, and to remind me of this moment each time anxiety tries to return. Let this be the hour where a new pattern begins, a pattern of turning to you before fear gains strength, a pattern of choosing stillness even when my mind wants to run. In this quiet turning, I choose to believe that I am not at the mercy of every thought that passes through me. I choose to believe that my mind can be steadied, that my inner world can be calmed, and that my heart can learn to rest even when life remains uncertain. I choose to believe that peace is not distant but near, rising in me as gently as the morning light. Let this growing stillness shape the way I move through the hours ahead, guiding me toward a gentler rhythm, a quieter strength, and a deeper trust in the one who watches over every part of my day. And as I breathe in this calm, I welcome the truth that I am allowed to rest, allowed to release, and allowed to begin this day with a mind becoming clearer, steadier, and more at peace than it was before. God, as my mind grows a little quieter in this early light, and my heart learns to rest more deeply in you, I feel a gentle longing rising within me for something more than brief moments of calm. I do not want this peace to be a passing feeling that fades when the day becomes busy or loud. I want my whole inner life to find a home in your presence, not just visit for a few fragile minutes before I rush back into my own strength. As I sit here, I sense an invitation not only to be comforted, but to dwell, to remain, to build my life around the simple reality that you are near and that your presence is a place I can live from, not just a place I run to when I am overwhelmed. Father, I admit that I have often treated time with you as something I fit in rather than something I build around. I have given you the leftover moments after my energy has been spent and my thoughts are scattered, and then I have wondered why I felt distant or disconnected. I see now how easily I have drifted into patterns where I carry myself through most of the day, only pausing to reach for you when I feel close to breaking. I do not want to live that way anymore. I want your presence to be the quiet center of my life, the unseen anchor that holds me steady no matter what happens around me. Lord, teach me what it means to dwell with you, to make a home in your nearness. Help me understand that this dwelling is not about staying in one physical place or saying perfect words, but about turning my attention toward you again and again, letting my thoughts return to you in simple ways throughout the day. Show me how to carry the stillness of this morning into the moments that come later, into the conversations, responsibilities, and unexpected interruptions. Let this time with you become more than an isolated pause. Let it be the beginning of a continuous connection. As I breathe in this quiet, I imagine my heart resting beneath a steady covering, like a roof that does not move when the weather changes. I picture your presence as that covering, sheltering me not only in obvious storms, but in ordinary moments, in small frustrations, in quiet temptations to worry or despair. I picture myself returning beneath that covering again and again, not because I have wandered too far, but because I want to be more aware of the safety that has been around me all along. Let this picture sink deeply into me so that when the day unfolds, I will remember where I belong. Father, I ask you to help me build small habits that keep my heart close to you. Teach me to whisper simple prayers in the middle of my tasks, to pause for a breath of awareness before reacting, to remember that you are here even when nothing feels spiritual or dramatic. Help me turn everyday moments into quiet meetings with you, whether I am walking, working, listening, or resting. Let my life become less divided between time with you and the rest of my day and more like one long, gentle conversation with you that continues in the background of everything I do. Lord, I know there will be moments when I forget, when stress rises quickly or distractions tug at my attention. In those moments, remind me that I do not have to start over from the beginning. I do not have to earn my way back into your presence or prove that I deserve to be near you. I only need to turn, to remember, to breathe and acknowledge that you are here. Let this awareness be simple, not complicated. Let it be accessible, not reserved for perfect days or perfect moods. Train my heart to find you in the middle of ordinary noise, just as clearly as I find you in the stillness of this morning. As the light outside grows stronger, I feel a quiet desire to grow in trust that I am never truly alone. I want this truth to become more than a comforting idea. I want it to become the lens through which I see my life, I want to walk through each room I enter today with the awareness that I do not step into it by myself. I want the knowledge of your nearness to soften my reactions, to shape my words, to calm my fears before they tighten my chest. I want your presence to be the place where my thoughts begin and the place where they return when they drift. God, let this be the morning where dwelling with you becomes more than a phrase to me. Let it become the quiet reality that holds me from within. Let me grow more aware of the subtle ways you comfort, guide, and steady me. Let me notice the gentle reminders, the small mercies, the quiet nudges that draw me back when I start to close off or hurry ahead. Let me treat these moments as invitations, not interruptions. Father, I bring you my desire for this deeper nearness. Even if I am not yet sure how to walk it out perfectly, I bring you my scattered attention, my easily distracted mind, my tendency to rush. I offer them all to you and ask that you shape them slowly, patiently, into a heart that is more at home with you than anywhere else. Let this day become a small beginning, a quiet turning toward a life that does not leave your presence behind when the morning ends, but carries it gently through every hour that follows. Father, in this quiet hour, I come before you with a longing that words can barely carry. It is a longing not just for peace, not just for answers, but for something deeper. Something transformative. I find myself aching for a new heart, a heart that beats not only for survival, but for purpose, for kindness, for truth, for you. I am tired of the old patterns that have shaped me, tired of the reactions that rise before I even think, tired of circling the same struggles, whispering the same regrets. I do not want to keep living the same days in different clothing. I want to be made new, truly and deeply new. God, I believe you are the one who makes all things new. And yet I confess that I often resist the very process I pray for. I ask for change, but I hold tightly to the familiar. I say I want freedom, but I cling to chains I understand. I long to become more loving, more patient, more whole. But when the moment comes to act differently, I retreat into the same old self. So today I bring you not just my desire for transformation, but my fear of it. I offer you the tension inside me, the part of me that wants to grow, and the part that feels safer staying the same. I cannot fix this on my own, but I believe you can work within me, even when I am hesitant, even when I am slow, even when I stumble. Lord, shape me gently but surely. Begin with the places in me that are hardest to reach, the quiet resentments I do not talk about, the envy I dress up as ambition, the self-doubt I bury beneath business, the numbness I call strength. Reach into those corners with hands that do not wound but heal. Speak into them with truth that does not accuse but awakens. I do not ask for instant change, but for real change. Give me a heart that learns, a heart that listens, a heart that leans into love even when it is hard. Father, let transformation begin not in what I do, but in how I see. Open my eyes to the beauty I have missed because I have been so focused on what is broken. Open my eyes to the goodness that still exists in others, even when pain tries to convince me to shut down. Open my eyes to how you are already working in places I thought were beyond hope. Let this shift in vision be the beginning of a shift in me. Let seeing differently lead to living differently. Let new perception lead to new patterns. And as you work in me, Lord, help me not to strive but to yield. Remind me that transformation is not something I must force, but something I allow, like a seed that surrenders to the soil, like a river that flows because it trusts gravity. Let me surrender to your shaping hands. Teach me to cooperate with the slow miracle of becoming. Remind me that the discomfort of growth is not punishment, but the stretching of new life. There are parts of me that feel resistant, stubborn, even afraid. I offer them to you not with shame, but with honesty. Meet me in those places, not to scold, but to sit with me, to show me that even my hesitation is known, even my slow yes is still a yes. Thank you that you do not wait for me to be perfect before you begin. You start where I am, and you are faithful to finish what you begin. God, I do not want a life of shallow change, where I look better on the outside, but remain tangled inside. I want a renovation of the soul. I want the kind of change that affects how I love, how I listen, how I forgive, how I hope. I want a heart that is less reactive and more responsive to your spirit. A heart that is soft where it used to be hard. A heart that trusts instead of closing off. A heart that reflects something of your kindness even in ordinary things. So today, I lean into this process, trusting that the work you do in me is not wasted. Even when it feels slow, I trust that every small surrender, every quiet decision to show up differently, is part of something larger you are creating. I trust that my longing for a new heart is not foolish or impossible, but holy and heard. I trust that in your presence, transformation is not only possible but promised. And so, I carry this hope with me into the day, not as a burden, but as a quiet flame. I may not feel different in this moment, but I believe that I am being changed. And that is enough for today. Lord, as the light rises gently through the sky, I welcome this new day with a heart that is still learning to rest. Not the kind of rest that comes from sleep alone, the deeper rest that quiets my soul and lets me know I am safe in you. I come to you now not because I have done everything right, not because I am strong, but because I am wary of striving, wary of proving, wary of pretending I have it all together. I come because you said, "Come to me all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." I take you at your word. I lay down my need to fix everything, to control what is not mine to control, to anticipate what tomorrow will demand. I lay down the weight of trying to hold everyone and everything together. I was never meant to be the savior. That role belongs to you. So I exhale the pressure I have been carrying and inhale the peace you freely offer, not a peace that depends on perfect circumstances, but a peace that meets me even in the middle of the mess. God, teach me to enter the stillness without guilt. Teach me that rest is not laziness, that slowing down is not weakness, that being still before you is not a waste of time. In a world that tells me to hustle, to push harder, to never stop, I want to learn the sacred rhythm of your pace. Help me not to equate my worth with my productivity. Help me remember that I am loved not for what I do, but for who I am, your child, held in grace. In this moment of quiet, I listen, not to the noise of my own thoughts, not to the demands of the world, but for your whisper. Your voice is not always loud, but it is always steady. It reminds me that I am not alone. It reminds me that I am seen, known, and cherished, even when my calendar is full, even when my phone is buzzing, even when my soul feels cluttered. You are here, inviting me to step outside the chaos and return to the quiet center where you dwell. Father, I know there is work to do today. Tasks will demand my energy. People will need my time. Situations will test my patience. But before I move into action, I anchor myself in this moment with you. Let everything I do today be born from this place of rest. Let my responses come not from stress, but from stillness. Let my decisions be guided not by urgency, but by wisdom. Let my interactions reflect the peace I have received from you. And when the demands of the day press in, remind me that I can return to this stillness again and again. I do not need a perfect place or a perfect hour to find you. I only need a willing heart and a few quiet breaths. Even in the middle of noise, I can carry your calm. Even in the business, I can remember that my soul is anchored in something deeper than deadlines and demands. God, restore to me the joy of resting in your presence. Let it not be a rare occasion, but a rhythm I live by. Let me build a life where rest is not an escape, but a foundation, where silence is not awkward, but sacred, where stillness is not emptiness, but fullness. Help me protect the quiet spaces of my heart, even when the world moves fast. Help me to be someone who carries peace, not just seeks it. And if there are places in me that resist rest, places afraid of slowing down, afraid of what might rise in the silence, meet me there. Show me that even in the quiet, I am not alone, that you are not disappointed in my need for rest, that you are the shepherd who leads me beside still waters, not to pause progress, but to restore my soul. Thank you that rest is not a luxury, but a promise, not a reward for finishing, but a gift given freely by the one who knows I need it. And in the stillness of this moment, I let go of the pressure to be more than I am. I choose, instead, to be present, to receive, to breathe, and to simply be held in the truth that I am loved, guided, and not alone. Let this be enough. God, in this morning light, I confess that there are still corners of my heart where doubt lingers like shadows. I do not always walk in perfect faith. I do not always feel strong. There are days when questions rise like waves and certainty feels far away. But even here, in this quiet wrestling, I come to you. I do not come with rehearsed words or perfect clarity, but with a heart that still wants to believe. A heart that chooses to keep turning toward you, even when understanding is slow to come. You have never asked me to be without doubt. You have only asked me to bring it to you. So here I am. Not hiding, not pretending, but opening my hands to the questions I carry. What if I am not enough? What if I never see the answer I have been praying for? What if things do not turn out the way I hoped? These thoughts come like whispers, sometimes loud enough to shake the ground beneath me, But you are not afraid of them. You do not flinch at my fears. Instead, you meet me in them. You draw near to the hesitant heart, to the mind still learning to trust. You are the steady hand when mine trembles. You are the calm voice when my own voice shakes. You are the shepherd who does not walk away when one sheep strays. You search. You find. You carry. That is who you are. So I lean into your nature, not into my ability to feel certain. I anchor myself not in how I feel, but in who you have always been. Help me see that faith is not the absence of doubt, but the courage to believe anyway, to take one more step, even when I can see the whole road, to lift my eyes, even when the fog still surrounds me, to say yes to you, even when fear says run. Let this be the kind of faith that grows in me, not flashy, not flawless, but faithful, steady, honest, real. Father, when my prayers feel unanswered, when the silence stretches longer than I thought I could bear, help me not to mistake your quiet for absence. Remind me that you are the God who works in stillness, that growth often happens underground, in places unseen, that your timing is not delay but design, that waiting is not wasted when it is held in your hands. Even when I do not see what you are doing, help me trust that you are still doing something. Even when I do not feel the breakthrough, help me know that you are still breaking through places I cannot yet name. I do not need all the answers to believe you are still good. I do not need proof to believe your promises still stand. I only need the willingness to keep showing up in your presence, questions and all. So I show up, not as someone who has it all figured out, but as someone who still believes you are worth trusting. I bring my questions, not to be shamed, but to be met. I bring my doubts, not to be silenced, but to be held. I bring my whole self uncertainty, and all because you are the only one who can hold me steady in the storm. And as I breathe in this truth, I remember that I am never outside the reach of your compassion. Even in my quiet doubts, you are still near. Even in my faltering steps, you still walk with me. Let this be the peace that holds me steady today. Father, in this unfolding light of morning, I come again not because I have the words, but because I have the need, not because I have conquered my fears, but because I still carry them. And yet, I carry them differently now, because I carry them with you. I used to believe I had to rid myself of weakness before entering your presence, but now I see your presence is the very place my weakness is allowed to breathe. There is no mask here, no performance. I come with the pieces of me I do not fully understand, with the fatigue that does not always have a name, with the questions I thought I had buried. I come as I am, and you receive me not reluctantly, but joyfully. You delight in my coming, not because I am whole, but because I am yours. You know what burdens I bring without me needing to speak them. You know the ways I feel stretched thin emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You know how I try to stay strong for everyone else, while silently wondering if I am breaking inside. And still, you welcome me. You do not ask me to be impressive. You ask me to be honest, so here I am, in the honesty of this moment, reaching for you again. You meet me with tenderness, not accusation. You offer presence, not pressure. I used to think strength meant having no cracks, but you are teaching me that true strength is knowing where to bring them. You do not despise the fragile places in me. You fill them with grace. You make my weakness a place of encounter, not shame. And so today, I do not strive to be more than I am. I do not chase perfection. I allow myself to lean, to pause, to let your gentleness lead me instead of my fear. I trust that I do not have to carry it all, fix it all, be it all. That you never asked that of me in the first place. You only asked me to stay near. Lord, help me walk slowly through this day. Let me resist the urge to rush past the sacred, to move too fast for wonder, to miss the miracles wrapped in ordinary moments. Let me be awake to beauty, to quiet kindness, to the breath that fills my lungs as proof that grace is still here. I do not need every answer to rest. I only need to know you are here. Even when I feel invisible to others, I am never unseen by you. You notice. You remember. You care. When the world demands more than I have to give, you offer rest that does not require performance. You remind me that being loved has never depended on being flawless. And in that reminder, I exhale. Help me to speak gently to myself today, to silence the voice of the critic within, and to replace it with the voice of compassion, the voice you have always used when speaking over me. You do not shout condemnation. You whisper belonging. You do not measure me by achievement. You hold me by identity. I am yours, and that is enough. May I see others through the same lens. May I move with grace, not just toward myself, but toward every soul I meet. We are all walking stories, carrying unseen battles. Let my presence today be a shelter, not a storm. Let my words bring healing, not haste. Let me reflect you not in loud declarations, but in quiet consistency. And when I forget, when I fall short, when I feel the pull of old patterns or heavy thoughts, remind me that I can begin again, that you are not wary of me, that mercy is new with the morning for a reason, because you knew I would need it fresh, and I do. So today, I allow the quiet strength of your companionship to be enough. I do not need to rush ahead or prove anything. I simply need to stay close, letting my heart rest in the certainty that you are already here, already working, already loving me through it all. Lord, as I sit in the stillness of this morning, I feel the quiet rhythm of grace pulsing beneath everything. It was there yesterday. It was there in the hours I thought I failed, in the moments I felt unseen, and in the breath I took without noticing. And it is here again, greeting me like light spilling across the floor unearned, unannounced, but always faithful. I used to think grace was only for the moments I got things wrong, but now I understand it is also the substance of every right step. It is what allows me to try again. It is what holds me steady when I begin to walk in a new way. I feel it like a gentle wind at my back, not pushing, but encouraging, saying, "You are not alone in this. I bring you my scattered attention today. Lord, my mind wants to leap into lists and expectations, but you gently remind me that grace is not a reward for being composed. It is the foundation I live from. So I return to you not with grand intentions, but with the small willingness to be present, to notice, to receive. Let today be a day of awakening, not to pressure or perfection, but to grace in motion. Open my eyes to see what I usually rush past. Let me not overlook the small joys, the sound of water running, the smile of someone passing by, the quiet gift of still being here. Let each become a cathedral of wonder. You are not found only in the high and holy. You meet me in the hallway, in the coffee cup, in the interruption. You are not waiting for me to climb a ladder to you. You are already walking with me on the ground I stand on. What a wonder that you are this near and this kind. God, help me today to live as if grace is real, not just a word I say, but a truth I absorb. Let it change the way I speak to others, not out of effort but overflow. Let kindness be my reflex, not just my discipline. Let me carry gentleness into rooms where tension wants to lead. Let me be a presence of peace. I ask not to be admired but to be useful, not to be impressive but to be faithful. I do not want to perform goodness. I want to participate in it. I want my life to be shaped by your rhythm, not rushed, not reactive, but rooted. I want to give what I have, no matter how small, because in your hands, small becomes sacred. If I meet resistance today within or around me, help me respond with grace first. Not weakness, but the strength that does not need to retaliate. The courage that listens before it judges. The wisdom to know that I do not need to win every moment. I need only to stay true to the light you have given me for this step. I know I want to get it all right. I will forget. I will get frustrated. I will lose my way for a moment. But I want to let that disqualify me from coming back. I want to let shame steal another hour. Because you are not asking for flawless execution. You are asking for willing hearts. And this heart, though still learning, is willing. I release the pressure to be perfect and receive the invitation to be real. I release the need to know everything and accept the gift of being known. Release the burden of carrying everyone and everything. And remember that you are the sustainer, not me. I am allowed to rest in that truth. So as I move into this day, let grace be the rhythm beneath my every task. Let it steady my pace. Let it soften my tone. Let it surprise me in the ordinary. And when the day ends and I look back, let me see that I was never alone, not for one breath, not for one step. You were there. And that was always enough. And as I continue this walk, I invite grace to write itself into my words, my silence, my decisions, and even into the pauses where I do not yet have answers. Let grace find me not only when I fall, but while I rise. Let it be the thread that ties together the fragments of this day, and the song that plays softly beneath it all, reminding me that I am held, I am seen, and I am already deeply loved. You are not just the God of beginnings or endings. You are the God of the middle, the ordinary stretch of hours, where most of life unfolds. Let me not overlook that this, too, is sacred ground. The moment I choose peace over reaction, the instant I forgive when I could have clung to bitterness, the breath I take before responding in love, these are the altars where grace meets me again and again. I want to live this day as one long yes to you, not dramatic, not loud, but steady and sincere. And if all I offer is a whisper of trust, I know you will meet it with waves of mercy. Let every step I take today be a quiet declaration of trust. Let every sigh become a prayer, every glance an offering. Even in the unnoticed, let your presence linger, even in silence. Let me hear your assurance, even in weakness. Let your strength be enough. So here I am again, waking into mercy, learning to walk in grace, and trusting that the one who called me into this day will carry me through it with kindness that never runs dry. Father, as the quiet of morning deepens into the heartbeat of the day, I find myself still anchored in the thread of grace that carried me through the first stirrings of light. But now, as the hours unfold, I sense you calling me not only to rest, but to rise, to stand, to move, to carry, to build. This, too, is holy. The strength you give me is not the clenched fist, but the open hand, not the roar of conquest, but the steady rhythm of faithfulness. You invite me, Lord, into a courage that does not always feel bold but breathes steady under pressure. You are the God who strengthens the weary, who places iron in the soul without demanding spectacle. You build fortitude not in the absence of trembling, but in its presence. You train my hands not for war, but for the gentle labor of healing, the quiet persistence of choosing love again and again. I confess, there are days when I do not feel strong, when my spine bends with unseen burdens, when I wake to a heaviness I cannot name, when my prayers feel like whispers lost in wind. But even here, even now, you are not far. You are closer than breath, steadying what trembles, fortifying what falters. You do not wait for me to be mighty. You breathe might into my fragile frame. Teach me, God, that real strength is not the absence of pain, but the presence of purpose, that I need not numb myself to endure, but instead lean deeper into you, the source of every breath and beat. Let me be brave in the mundane. Let me rise not only in storms, but in silence. Let me show up with heart, even when the world seems indifferent. Your word says that those who wait upon you shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not grow weary. They shall walk and not faint. And so, I wait not passively, but with holy expectation. I wait as a seed waits in soil, hidden but not forgotten, destined to rise. You are planting something within me. Father, I feel it stretching, hatching even, but it is alive, and in that aliveness, I trust, even when results are not visible, even when others doubt, even when I doubt myself. You are the gardener of my soul, and you waste nothing. Not time, not tears, not trials. You strengthen me not only for my sake, but for the sake of those I will encounter today. Let my presence carry peace. Let my words carry hope. Let my eyes see what others miss. Let me be a quiet carrier of your grace, even in settings that seem ordinary. Especially there. Let strength not puff me up, but ground me deeper in compassion. When I feel overlooked, remind me that you see. When I feel unseen, remind me that you know. When I feel small, remind me that mustard seeds move mountains, and that sometimes the smallest act of love done in your name carries more weight in heaven than thunder on the earth. Let me be faithful in little, for that is where true strength is proven. Give me resolve without rigidity. Give me endurance without bitterness. Give me conviction without harshness. Make me fierce in mercy, unwavering in kindness. Let no hardness settle in my spirit. No cynicism take root. Strength without love is just noise. You, Lord, are both lion and lamb. Make me more like you. Even when the tasks ahead seem too many, the hours too short, and my energy too fleeting, remind me that I was never meant to carry this alone. You are with me. You go before me. You hem me in behind. You provide what I need, not all at once, but moment by moment. Daily bread. Daily breath. Daily strength. Let the rhythm of your grace pace my steps today. Not rushing, not dragging, but moving in sync with your spirit, one yes at a time, one act of obedience, one choice to keep going, not because I must prove anything, but because you are worthy, and this day is a gift. And when the doubts come, and they will when the questions whisper louder than faith, help me remember, I am not strong because I feel it. I am strong because you are in me, because your spirit groans when I cannot speak, because your presence does not flicker with my moods. Father, raise my eyes again not to the weight, but to the one who carries it with me. Let strength be more than stamina. Let it be surrender. Let it be rooted in trust, not performance. Let it flow not from pride, but from abiding in the vine. So here I stand, in the middle of a world spinning fast, and I choose to be still, not in apathy, but in anchored strength, not in escape, but in engagement, not in detachment, but in devoted presence. Here I am, Lord. Strengthen me to rise in your name and to carry what matters with hands wide open. Lord, even as I move forward in the strength you have gently awakened in me, I am reminded that the truest power does not shout. It listens. It obeys. It yields. As the winds obey the voice of their maker, and the sun rises without hesitation at your command, so my soul longs to find its quiet joy in obedience to you. Not obedience born from fear or duty, but from love deep, reverent, willing love. For what good is freedom without alignment, or strength without surrender to a higher call? The world whispers of independence and glory, but you whisper something softer, deeper, eternal. You speak not in thunder to my weary heart, but in stillness. You draw me not with chains, but with mercy, and in this moment, I feel the gentle pull to walk not ahead of you, not beside you even, but behind you, following the path you lay, one careful step at a time, not in haste, not in dread, but in devotion. Let obedience be my offering today. Let my yes be soft but firm, like the dew that clings to petals at dawn. Let me obey not only when I understand, but especially when I do not. Let me follow when the way is lit, and also when shadows cloud my vision. Teach me, God, that trust is the root of obedience, and that obedience is the fruit of trust. One feeds the other in the soil of surrender, and I desire to be fertile ground for both. I confess how often I have resisted, how I have leaned on my own understanding, mapped my own routes, carved my own idols of control. But your grace has not condemned me, it has pursued me. It has waited with patience too vast for my comprehension, and here I am now, not with perfection in hand, but with a heart willing to yield. Mold me again, Lord. Shape me in the rhythm of obedience, not as a servant bound by law, but as a beloved child attuned to your will. Let my obedience flow through the unseen moments, the unseen kindness, the prayer no one hears, the mercy I extend in secret. Let it not be for the applause of men, but the nearness of you. Let every act be a whisper of devotion, every choice a quiet yes that echoes through heaven. Let me be known in heaven not for miracles I perform, but for obedience I walk in. Sometimes obedience feels like sacrifice. Sometimes it feels like the death of a dream, the end of a plan, the letting go of what I thought was best. And yet, on the other side of that surrender, I have found peace that confounds logic. I have found joy that cannot be shaken. I have found you not as a distant king issuing commands, but as a loving shepherd guiding me with rod and staff. I have felt your correction not as punishment, but as protection. I have known your no to be a redirection into better yeses. So when you speak, give me ears to hear. When you stir, give me a spirit that moves. When you nudge, give me the humility to respond. Do not let me delay or negotiate or wrap your will in conditions. Strip away the pride that stalls my feet. Remove the fears that muddy my discernment. Burn away the excuses until what remains is the simple resolve to obey because I trust you more than I trust myself. Even now, in this sacred hour of morning, I ask you to show me where I am resisting. Shine a light on the corners of my heart, still clinging to control. Reveal the quiet places where compromise has taken root. And do not leave me there, lead me out. Not with force, but with truth. I want to be pliable in your hands. I want to live like clay that remembers the touch of its potter. I want to say yes before I see the why. I want to move when you whisper, not just when you shout. You have never led me into harm. You have never misdirected my steps. You have led me through valleys and mountaintops, through waters and wilderness. And always, you have remained faithful. Even when I turned away, you stood firm. Even when I questioned, you answered in mercy. Even when I hesitated, you waited. And now, as I stand in the quiet joy of surrender, I am overwhelmed not by the cost of obedience, but by the gift it becomes. Let this day be marked not by my striving, but by my listening. Let it be shaped not by my ambition, but by my alignment. Let my obedience today prepare the soil for the blessings of tomorrow. Let it be a fragrant offering, rising like incense, unseen by men but precious in your sight. For in obedience I find not restriction but release, not heaviness but holiness, not burden but belonging. This is the way of peace. This is the way of joy. This is the way of communion with you. Not a path of performance, but of presence. Not rules, but relationship. And as I continue to walk, let each step be a hymn of trust, each breath a confession of love, and each act a reflection of the one I follow. Father, as I linger a little longer in this space of surrender, I realize that obedience is not only an outward posture, but inward alignment, a steady turning of my heart toward what is true. Even when distractions tug me in every direction, it is a willingness to listen beneath the surface of my own desires, to recognize the quiet tone of your leading even when it does not match the plans I once drew for myself. And the more I lean into this, the more I discover that obedience is not the heaviness I feared, is the doorway into peace. There is a freedom that comes from letting go of the outcomes I used to obsess over, a freedom from the constant measuring, the second guessing, the internal debates that wear my soul thin. When I choose your way, Lord, even without clarity, something settles inside me. The tension loosens. The inner storms quiet. It is as if my spirit remembers where it belongs and sighs with relief. This, too, is the joy of obedience, a joy that does not roar but hums, steady and soft. Teach me to recognize that obedience is not limited to great decisions. It is found in the small moments, in choosing patience instead of irritation, in offering kindness when silence would be easier, in telling the truth even when it costs me comfort, in showing mercy where judgment would feel justified. These small obediences form the shape of my character. They refine me in ways that grand gestures never could. They build a life that looks more like yours, piece by piece, day by day. Lord, help me embrace the truth that obedience is not losing myself, it is finding myself in you. It is uncovering the parts of me that fear has buried, pride has distorted, or worry has silenced. It is discovering that the truest version of me is the one aligned with your heart. And when I choose that alignment, something awakens inside me, a sense of belonging, a sense of purpose, a sense that I am stepping into the life I was always meant to live. I know there will be moments when obedience feels costly, when saying yes means releasing something precious, or trusting you with a path that feels uncertain. Yet every time I have surrendered, you have met me with better things, deeper peace, wider hope, clearer vision. You never take without giving, never prune without preparing for growth. Help me remember that your commands are not shackles. They are invitations, summons into wholeness, freedom, and life. Let obedience today be a quiet partnership between your spirit and my will. Let every hesitation soften into willingness. Let every reluctance melt into trust. Let me not rush ahead nor drag my feet behind you. Let me simply walk with you, not resisting, not negotiating, but responding. Make my spirit attentive, my heart responsive, my steps aligned with the gentle cadence of your guidance. And when I falter, which I will remind me that obedience is also returning when I drift, returning when I cling to old ways, returning when I realize I have been guiding myself instead of listening for you. Every return is precious to you, and every return teaches me the sweetness of your patience. So here I remain, Lord, offering not only my actions but my intentions, not only my choices but my desires. Shape them, redirect them, purify them. Let my obedience become less about doing and more about becoming someone whose life reflects the one I love, the one I follow, the one who leads with gentleness stronger than any force on earth. Father, as I move gently from the quiet place where obedience softened my heart, I feel you drawing me toward a deeper work, one that touches places I have long avoided. Forgiveness has always felt like tender ground to me, a place where old aches stir, where memories rise uninvited, where the past asks to be handled with open hands instead of clenched ones. In this early calm, I sense you inviting me to step into forgiveness not as a burden, but as a doorway to freedom. You lead me with patience, not haste, guiding me to trust that this work will not break me, but restore me in ways I cannot yet see. Lord, I admit that some memories still tug at me with a quiet sting. Some words echo longer than they should. Some actions left marks that I tried to ignore, but never truly released. I have carried these shadows like hidden weights, believing I could outrun their pull if I simply kept moving. But you see the strain beneath my strength, the heaviness behind my hope, and gently you remind me that forgiveness is not about forgetting. It is about unbinding my soul from what keeps me tethered to old pain. Teach me, God, that forgiveness is not approval of the wound nor dismissal of the hurt. It is the steady choice to loosen resentment's grip, to let bitterness lose its voice, to let my spirit breathe again. It is choosing compassion without erasing truth, choosing mercy without pretending nothing happened. Show me how to see those who hurt me with clarity and humanity, acknowledging both the injury and the deeper story behind it. In this balance, let my heart find room to heal. Sometimes the hardest forgiveness is the one I owe myself. I revisit my missteps, replay my regrets, linger too long in the hallways of what-ifs. Yet you invite me to see myself as you do, with gentleness that does not ignore my flaws but refuses to condemn me for them. Help me release the harshness I turn inward. Teach me to extend grace to the parts of me that are still learning, still growing, still stumbling toward wisdom. When forgiveness feels impossible, meet me there. When the pain feels fresher than it should, hold me steady. When fear tells me that releasing the past will leave me unprotected, remind me that you are my shelter. Let my willingness be enough for today. Let my small yes open the way for your healing to move, where I cannot force it to go. Let forgiveness become less of an effort and more of a gift, unfolding slowly within me. Guide me to speak and act today from a heart uncluttered by old wounds. Let my tone carry gentleness instead of guardedness. Let my choices reflect freedom instead of fear. Let my interactions be shaped not by the echoes of yesterday, but by the possibility of renewal. Help me interpret others not through the lens of past hurt, but with a fresh openness that allows room for grace to work in unexpected ways. And when my heart hesitates, when old memories ask to be picked up again, give me the courage to release them once more. Forgiveness is not a single act, but a steady posture, a practice of letting go again and again until the past loosens its hold completely. Strengthen me each time I choose release. Steady me each time I choose compassion. Lift me each time I choose to walk away from bitterness toward peace. Let forgiveness shape the atmosphere around me today. Let it soften my reactions, quiet my assumptions, broaden my understanding. Let it move silently through my thoughts like a gentle wind clearing what does not belong. Let it make space for healing to grow in places I once believed barren. I ask that as forgiveness grows within me, it changes the way I move through ordinary moments. Let it guide the way I listen, slowing my thoughts so I may truly hear what others mean beneath what they say. Let it shape my patience so that I do not rush to defend myself or react from old wounds. Let it teach me to pause, to breathe, to seek your perspective before forming my own. And in these pauses, let healing settle more deeply. Let forgiveness make room in me for compassion I once believed impossible. Let it widen my vision so that I may see the quiet battles others fight, the unseen burdens they carry, the histories that shaped their choices. Remind me that every person I meet is navigating their own storms, and that kindness offered consistently, quietly, without condition has the power to shift the atmosphere of a wary heart. As this day unfolds, let forgiveness not be an isolated act, but a steady rhythm that guides my steps. Let it remind me that freedom is not found in holding tightly to what hurt me, but in trusting you with every piece of my story. And as I release what once felt heavy, let a deeper peace rise, anchoring me in the truth that I am carried, supported, and continually renewed by your endless grace. Lord, as I carry the quiet work of forgiveness into this new moment of prayer, I sense you leading me toward a deeper confidence, one that does not depend on circumstance or emotion, but on your unwavering presence. Trust has never been a single decision for me. It has been a gradual unfolding, a slow surrender of my fears, a gentle loosening of my grip on what I think I must control. And now, in this stillness, you invite me to walk in trust that is steady, grounded, and calm. I come to you with a heart that wants to trust fully, yet sometimes trembles at what it cannot see. There are questions that linger, uncertainties that cast long shadows, and pathways that feel unclear. But you remind me that trust does not require complete understanding. It simply requires willingness, a willingness to lean, to rest, to believe that you will carry me even when the road bends beyond my sight. You invite me to settle into the truth that your guidance does not waver, and your intentions toward me are always rooted in love deeper than I can fathom. Teach me to trust you not only when life is peaceful, but also in the noise of the unexpected. Let trust become the anchor beneath my shifting thoughts, the steadying breath when anxiety attempts to rise, the quiet reminder that I am never navigating anything alone. Shape in me a confidence that does not depend on outward stability, but on the certainty of who you are. Help me release the urge to predict every outcome or anticipate every possibility, and instead walk with the assurance that each moment is held within your wisdom. Lord, I confess there are places in my life where trust feels fragile, times when disappointment made me cautious, when delays made me restless, when unanswered prayers made me wonder if you still heard me. Yet even in these places, you have never abandoned me. You have been present in the silence, speaking through peace instead of explanation, guiding me through subtle nudges rather than loud instruction. Open my eyes to recognize the quiet ways you lead. Let trust be the lens through which I view this day. Let it color the way I respond to challenges, interact with others, and interpret the unexpected. When I meet obstacles, let trust whisper that strength will come. When I face decisions, let trust remind me that wisdom will meet me at the right time. When I feel overwhelmed, let trust draw me back into the calm certainty that you are already working in ways I cannot yet perceive. Help me trust your timing, even when waiting stretches longer than I hoped. Help me trust your direction, even when it differs from my plans. Help me trust your protection, even when the world feels uncertain. And most of all, help me trust your heart, which has never failed me, never missiled me, never withheld what would bring me closer to the life you are shaping within me. Let this trust become the foundation beneath my steps, the quiet courage that keeps me moving forward. Let it soften the edges of fear, ease the tension of trying to control, and free me from the weight of imagining every worst-case scenario. Let trust be a gentle strength rising within me, reminding me that I am safe, held, guided, and loved with a constancy that does not change. As I walk into the hours ahead, let each moment be an opportunity to lean into you again. Let trust guide my reactions, steady my emotions, and remind me that I do not need to see the whole path to keep following your voice. Let it root me in the simple truth that you are with me, leading, guarding, and shaping every step. And in this truth, let my spirit rest with deep and quiet confidence. So as this day unfolds, let trust become the calm beneath every decision, the strength beneath every weakness, the hope beneath every uncertainty. Let it reach into the small details of my life, the conversations I enter, the tasks I complete, the thoughts I entertain. Let it shape the way I wait, the way I breathe, the way I release what I cannot carry. Let it be the quiet song beneath my actions, reminding me again and again that I am not walking through this world alone. Give me the grace to allow trust to deepen without demanding immediate answers. Let me welcome the unknown not as a threat, but as a space where your goodness can reveal itself in new ways. Let me recognize that trust grows not in comfort, but in reliance, not in predictability, but in surrender. And as I keep leaning into the assurance of your presence, let my heart become steadier, my spirit quieter, and my steps more confident in the direction you lead. And when doubts rise, as they sometimes do, let trust meet them gently. Let it remind me of the countless moments you have carried me before. Let it lift my gaze from fear to faith, from worry to possibility, from striving to rest. Let it speak softly into the corners of my heart that still feel uncertain, assuring me that your faithfulness does not depend on my feelings. It simply is unchanging, unwavering, eternal. Father, as the steady trust of earlier moments settles deeper into my spirit, I feel you drawing me into a gentler place, one woven with tenderness and reassurance. There are seasons when strength feels distant, when weariness weighs more heavily than expected, and in those moments you do not call me to rise higher, but to rest nearer. You invite me to receive comfort not as something I must earn, but as something already prepared for me, waiting quietly for my openness to receive it. There have been days when I tried to soothe myself with distractions, attempting to outrun the H rather than face it. Yet in your presence, nothing must be hidden. You meet me in honesty, not in perfection. You comfort me not by forcing the pain away, but by sitting with me inside it, reminding me that I am not alone. Your nearness becomes my refuge, your gentleness my shelter, your voice the calm that steadies my heart when emotions rise like tides. Lord, teach me to lean into your comfort without hesitation. Let me not feel ashamed of my weariness or embarrassed by my longing for reassurance. You form my heart with the capacity to feel deeply, and you design my soul to find rest in you. When life becomes overwhelming, let my first instinct be to draw near, to let your presence quiet the noise within me, rather than attempting to silence it on my own. Comfort me in the places where fears still whisper, telling me that I am unprepared for what lies ahead. Comfort me in the memories that still sting, in the regrets that sometimes resurface, in the questions that do not yet have answers. Wrap my heart in the assurance that nothing is too heavy for you, that no sorrow is too small for your attention, that no tear escapes your notice. Let me feel held, fully and safely, without condition. Help me recognize the ways you comfort me beyond words, through the calm that settles unexpectedly, through the clarity that comes after confusion, through the breath that eases the tension I did not realize I carried. Let me see comfort in the kindness of others, in the beauty of still moments, in the quiet reassurance that warmth returns even after seasons of cold. Let these reminders whisper that healing is not a distant possibility, but a present work already unfolding in me. God, show me that receiving comfort does not make me weak. It makes me whole. It teaches me that I do not have to carry everything alone, that vulnerability is not failure, and that rest is not retreat but renewal. Teach me to release the pressure to appear strong, and instead embrace the strength found in letting down my guard in your presence. You do not rush my healing, nor do you grow impatient with my pace. You simply remain constant, tender, close. Let comfort settle into the places where I have held myself too tightly. Loosen the worries that cling to my thoughts. Soften the tension that gathers in my chest, and quiet the fears that imagine futures without hope. Let your peace move through me like a gentle tide, smoothing what feels jagged, lifting what feels heavy, and restoring what feels worn. Let not only soothe me, but reshape me from within, teaching my heart a new rhythm of rest. As I move into this day, let divine comfort accompany me like a steady presence, guiding my responses and easing my steps. Let it steady my voice when I feel uncertain, strengthen my patience when challenges arise, and deepen my compassion toward others who carry unspoken burdens of their own. Let comfort be both a gift received and a gift offered, flowing through me in quiet, meaningful ways. And as I continue to breathe in the stillness of this moment, let comfort deepen into certainty that I am guided even when I cannot trace the path, that I am being strengthened even when I feel fragile, that I am being lifted even when the weight of life feels unbalanced. Let this comfort remind me that healing does not always arrive with dramatic change. Sometimes it comes softly, through subtle shifts in my thoughts, through gentle releases in my heart, through the gradual renewal of hope that once felt distant. Let this comfort also make me more attentive to the needs of others. Help me notice the quiet tremble in someone's voice, the distant look in their eyes, the weight they try to hide beneath routine. Give me the grace to respond with compassion instead of assumption, with patience instead of judgment, with kindness instead of hurry. The comfort I have received flow outward, shaping an atmosphere where others feel seen, valued, and supported. As the day unfolds, let comfort become not only a momentary feeling, but a steady truth I carry with me. Let it be the reminder that I am nurtured by a love that does not waver, guided by a wisdom that does not falter, and held by a presence that never withdraws. Let comfort anchor me in the deep assurance that nothing I face today will separate me from the care you so faithfully provide. Lord, as I breathe in the quiet comfort you have wrapped around my heart, I sense a gentle stirring within me, a rising warmth that feels like the earliest hint of hope. It is not loud or sudden. It moves like dawn, soft and unhurried, touching the edges of my spirit with light I had forgotten to expect. Hope has always felt delicate to me, something I feared would slip through my fingers if I dared to hold it too closely. Yet here you are, offering it again with tenderness, reminding me that hope is not fragile when its source is you, and that I am not naive for believing in what I cannot yet see. There have been moments, God, when hope felt distant, when disappointments pressed hard against my chest, and every prayer seemed to fall into silence. In those times, I told myself not to expect too much, not to look too far ahead, not to let my heart reach for what seemed out of grasp. But you never let my hope die. Even in seasons where I felt lost, you kept a small flame burning within me, protecting it from winds I did not even see. And now, as you breathe gently upon it, I feel it glow a little brighter, warming places inside me that had almost grown numb. Teach me, Lord, to welcome hope without fear. Let me not question whether I am worthy of new beginnings or second chances. Let me not silence hope with memories of past failures or the weight of old regrets. Instead, help me see hope as a gift, your reminder that my story is still unfolding, that healing is still moving through places I once thought unreachable, that good things can grow even from broken ground. Let hope be the quiet courage that lifts my eyes, helping me remember that you are already at work in ways I cannot yet perceive. Strengthen me to hold on to hope even when circumstances do not change. Immediately, let me trust that unseen progress is still progress, that delayed answers are not denied promises, and that your timing remains perfect even when it challenges my understanding. Let hope be the thread that pulls me forward, the whisper that encourages me to rise again, the steady assurance that you are guiding me toward something meaningful and good. And when doubt tries to dim the light within me, meet me there with reassurance. Remind me of the moments when you carried me through seasons I once thought I would not survive. Remind me of prayers answered in ways more beautiful than I imagined. Remind me that hope rooted in you is never naive. It is wisdom wrapped in trust, It is the soul's way of saying that darkness will not have the final word. Let hope soften my interactions today. Let it shape the way I speak, the way I listen, the way I interpret the world around me. Let it make me gentle with others who are struggling, patient with myself as I grow, and alert to small signs of redemption unfolding quietly in ordinary places. Let hope open my heart to possibilities I once dismissed, teaching me to expect goodness without demanding certainty. As I move into this day, let hope rise steadily like light widening over the horizon, like warmth returning after a long winter, like clarity forming after confusion. Let it settle into every corner of my spirit until it becomes the atmosphere I breathe, the encouragement I carry, and the song that lingers beneath my thoughts. Let renewed hope remind me that I am never beyond your care, never beyond your reach, and never beyond the possibility of transformation. Lord, let this renewed hope become a steady companion as I navigate the unfolding hours ahead. Let it remind me that every challenge carries the potential for growth, every delay holds hidden purpose, and every uncertainty is an invitation to trust you more deeply. Let hope guide my responses, easing the tension that tries to settle in my shoulders, softening the worries that attempt to fill my mind, and lifting the heaviness that sometimes rests quietly in my chest. Let this hope reach into the places where I once stopped believing that change was possible. Let it loosen the knots of discouragement that formed in seasons of hardship. Let it breathe life into dreams I quietly set aside, not because they were unworthy, but because I feared disappointment. Remind me that you are the one who resurrects what feels dormant, who brings beauty from ashes, and who turns barren ground into fields of promise. Help me walk with a posture of expectation, not the anxious expectation that demands immediate results, but the peaceful expectation that trusts your goodness to unfold in its time. Let this hope influence the way I look at myself, replacing harshness with compassion, doubt with confidence, and hesitation with renewed willingness. Let it help me recognize that I am not who I used to be, that healing has already begun shaping me in ways I am only beginning to understand. And as this hope grows, let it overflow into the lives of those around me. Let it encourage those who feel unseen, uplift those who feel worn, and steady those who feel overwhelmed. Let my presence carry a quiet reassurance that brighter days are possible, that burdens can lift, and that renewal is not just a distant possibility, but a present invitation. Let this renewed hope become the gentle rhythm of my steps, the peace within my breath, and the steady assurance that I am walking toward goodness crafted by your hands. Lord, as renewed hope settles gently within me, I sense you inviting me into a deeper stillness, a quiet place where peace is not hurried or fragile, but rooted and enduring. This peace does not depend on circumstances aligning or uncertainties resolving. It rises from the assurance that you are present in every breath, guiding every moment, steadying every step. I come to this space not to escape the world, but to learn how to carry your peace into it, allowing it to shape my thoughts and soften my heart. There have been seasons, God, when peace felt distant, when the noise around me grew louder than my ability to breathe, when worries circled my mind like restless storms. But you remind me that peace is not the absence of trouble. It is the calm you place within me despite it. It is the stillness that settles slowly, like quiet water smoothing itself after wind. Help me welcome this peace without questioning whether I deserve it. Let me receive it freely, trusting that you offer it because you know how deeply I need it, not because I have earned it. Teach me to guard this inner peace as a sacred gift. Let it guide the pace of my thoughts, so I do not rush ahead of your leading. Let it shape my responses so I choose calm over reaction, compassion over frustration, and clarity over confusion. Let peace be the anchor that keeps me steady when external pressures try to pull me off balance. Remind me that peace does not remove responsibility, but strengthens me to carry it with grace rather than strain. Lord, show me how to cultivate peace in the small moments, in the way I pause before speaking, in the way I listen without impatience, in the way I allow silence to be a companion rather than something to fear. Let peace fill the spaces between my thoughts, calming the noise that once felt overwhelming, teaching my heart a gentler rhythm. Let this peace become a quiet shelter where I return throughout the day whenever tension begins to rise. And when my peace is threatened by sudden worry, by unexpected challenges, by the weight of uncertainty, remind me that I am not powerless. You have given me the ability to breathe deeply, to step back, to realign my focus, to invite your presence into the very places where anxiety tries to settle. Let your peace become a shield around my mind, guarding my perspective and strengthening my resolve not to give in to fear. Let this inner peace influence the way I interact with others. Let it soften my tone, slow my hurried thoughts, and help me see beyond surface behaviors into the deeper stories people carry. Let me bring calm into conversations where tension rises, and let compassion guide me when frustration tempts me to react. Make me a quiet reflection of the peace you continually pour into my own heart. As I move through this day, let peace walk beside me like a steady companion. Let it shape my decisions, align my intentions, and quiet the places within me that still feel unsettled. Let peace remind me that I do not have to control every outcome, predict every possibility, or solve every unknown. I simply need to remain present, attentive, and open to the guidance you are already providing. And as I carry this peace, let it deepen into confidence, a quiet assurance that I am safe in your care. No matter what the day holds, let it remind me that storms may come, but they do not determine my destiny. Let it strengthen me to trust that whatever unfolds, you will be with me in every moment, offering wisdom, comfort, and unwavering love. And in this truth, let my heart rest with quiet certainty. Lord, let this peace become the steady rhythm beneath all I do today. Let it calm my thoughts when they begin to scatter, steady my emotions when they waver, and gently guide my choices when uncertainty tries to cloud my clarity. Let peace remind me that I move through this world not alone, but carried by grace that meets me moment by moment. Let it encourage me to slow my pace, to breathe without haste, and to listen more deeply to the quiet guidance you place within my spirit. Help me recognize that peace is not passive. It is powerful. It strengthens my resolve to act with intention rather than impulse, to speak with kindness rather than frustration, to approach challenges with wisdom rather than fear. Let peace give me clarity where confusion once lived, and let it open my heart to possibilities that rushed thoughts might have overlooked. This peace settle into my very posture, softening the tension I sometimes hold without noticing. And as this day unfolds, let peace remind me that I am supported even in the unseen ways you work on my behalf. Let it reassure me that nothing I encounter will separate me from your presence. Let it quiet every worry trying to rise. And let it whisper through my soul that I am held, guided, and continually renewed by your love. Let this peace remain with me through every step, every breath, and every quiet moment, guiding me gently toward the goodness you are unfolding. Lord, as the deep peace you planted within me continues to settle into the quiet corners of my heart, I feel you preparing me for something more enduring. Peace softens me, but strength steadies me. And in this moment, you invite me into a strength that does not roar, does not demand attention, does not exhaust itself trying to prove anything. It is the kind of strength that grows quietly inside the soul, rooted in trust, shaped through perseverance, and sustained by your unfailing presence. I come to you now seeking this strength, not a strength that makes me unbreakable, but a strength that keeps me from breaking apart. There are days, God, when endurance feels heavy, when challenges seem to stack themselves one atop another, when the path feels longer than expected and the destination farther than imagined, when my heart wonders if I have enough left to keep going. Yet in these moments, you remind me that endurance is not found in my own resolve, but in the steady grace you provide each day. You have never asked me to carry tomorrow's burdens with today's strength. You simply ask me to take the next step, trusting that you will meet me there. Teach me, Lord, to lean into endurance without resentment. Let me not see challenges as punishment, but as preparation. Let me recognize that perseverance shapes me in ways ease never could. Let every difficulty become a carving tool, gently shaping my character into something more resilient, more compassionate, more aligned with your heart. And when weariness whispers that giving up would be easier, let your voice rise above it, reminding me that you are not finished with the story you are writing in my life. Strengthen me in the places where I feel most fragile, in the doubts that surface when progress seems slow, in the fears that rise when I face the unknown, in the frustration that comes when waiting stretches longer than I hoped, in the quiet ache of disappointment that still lingers from past seasons. Let your strength fill the gaps where mine falls short. Let it steady my spirit and anchor my emotions. Let it become the quiet assurance that no moment of endurance is wasted. Lord, help me remember that true strength is not hardened. It is refined. It is flexible enough to bend without breaking, gentle enough to remain compassionate, humble enough to seek help, and brave enough to try again. Let me be strong in the way you are strong in patience, in mercy, in truth, in unwavering love. Let my strength reflect not my ability to hold myself together, but my willingness to place every weakness into your hands. Give me strength to endure conversations that challenge my patience. Strength to endure responsibilities that feel heavier than usual. Strength to endure uncertainties that leave me unsettled. Strength to endure moments when others misunderstand my heart. strength to endure seasons where clarity is scarce but faith is essential. And as I endure, let me not become rigid. Let me remain open, pliable, teachable, and receptive to whatever you are shaping within me. Let endurance soften my perspective. Help me see that some growth takes time, some healing takes layers, some breakthroughs take seasons. Let endurance teach me to honor the process rather than demand instant resolution. Let it train my heart to value slow, steady transformation over rushed results. And in the waiting, let me discover depths of strength I did not know were possible, strength that forms quietly, deep beneath the surface, rising one surrendered moment at a time. As I walk through today, let endurance guide the rhythm of my steps. Let it help me stay consistent when distractions pull, remain hopeful when progress slows, and stay grounded when emotions shift. Let endurance shape the way I speak, giving me patience. Shape the way I listen, giving me understanding. Shape the way I respond, giving me compassion. Let it become a steady flame that does not flicker at the slightest wind. And when I reach the end of my strength, meet me there with yours. Whisper courage in the places where I feel discouraged. Pour resilience into the places where I feel worn. Wrap assurance around the places where I feel uncertain. Remind me that you are not asking me to be unshakable, only to remain connected to the one who cannot be shaken. Let endurance draw me deeper into reliance on you, teaching me that every step taken in your presence is already victory. Lord, let this strength to endure carry me through whatever unfolds today. Let it remind me that perseverance is not a test of worth, but a testimony of faith. Let it lift my spirit when challenges arise and steady my heart when expectations shift. And as I continue to move forward, let endurance become a quiet companion, guiding me with patience, grounding me with resilience, and leading me with unwavering trust in the goodness you are unfolding in my life. Lord, as the strength to endure settles firmly into my spirit, I sense you drawing me toward a deeper understanding of why you sustain me the way you do. Strength is not given only to survive. It is given so that I may walk with intention, with clarity, with a heart anchored in purpose. And today, you invite me to live not merely by routine or obligation, but by the quiet, steady calling you have placed within me, one shaped by compassion, grounded in truth, and fueled by grace. There are moments, God, when purpose feels distant, when the demands of daily life overshadow the deeper meaning behind what I do. I move from task to task without pausing long enough to remember why my life matters, why my presence carries weight, why you breathed destiny into me long before I opened my eyes to this world. But in this gentle morning stillness, I hear you reminding me that purpose is not something I chase. It is something I awaken to. It is already woven into who I am, waiting to be recognized in the smallest choices of each day. Teach me to see purpose not as a grand mission reserved for rare occasions, but as a living thread woven through ordinary moments. Purpose shows itself in the way I speak with kindness, in the way I show patience when it is difficult, in the way I offer help without being asked, in the way I listen with a heart that truly cares. Let me recognize that every interaction becomes a chance to reflect your love, every task an opportunity to serve, every quiet act a seed that grows beyond what I can see. Lord, help me release the belief that purpose must be impressive to be meaningful. You have never asked me to be remarkable. You have asked me to be faithful. You have never required me to perform great feats. You have asked me to walk with you, step by step, letting your character shape mine. Remove the pressure I put on myself to accomplish, achieve, or prove anything. Let me instead embrace the simple, steady purpose of living each moment in alignment with your heart. Show me the places where purpose is already quietly at work, in the responsibilities I carry, in the people I care for, in the conversations that cross my path, in the challenges that teach me resilience, in the opportunities that call me to grow. Let me see that nothing in my life is wasted, not the waiting, not the learning, not the stretching, not even the moments I thought were setbacks. You weave them into purpose with a wisdom far greater than mine. And when I question whether my life makes a difference, whisper truth into the doubts that try to settle in my mind. Remind me that purpose is often revealed slowly, like dawn unfolding across the sky. Remind me that seeds planted quietly may bloom long after I leave a moment behind. Remind me that acts of love, no matter how small, echo far beyond what I can measure. Purpose is not loud, it is faithful. Let purpose guide the intentions behind my actions today. Let it shape my priorities so I do not waste energy on what drains my spirit, but invest in what nurtures growth both in myself and in others. Let it influence the way I choose my words, the way I set my boundaries, the way I offer my time. Let it remind me that every moment has meaning when it is surrendered to you. Lord, help me align my desires with the purpose you placed within me. Let me not chase distractions disguised as promises. Let me not be pulled by comparison or pressured by expectations that do not come from you. Free me from the need to meet standards I was never meant to carry. Lead me instead into the fullness of who I am becoming, a person shaped by grace, guided by truth, and strengthened by a calling that cannot be taken away. As I step into the unfolding hours of this day, let purpose be the compass that directs my steps. Let it help me recognize opportunities to encourage, to uplift, to speak life, to build peace, to offer compassion. Let purpose breathe through the mundane and bring clarity to the complex. And in everything I do, let me reflect the one who created me with intention. And when the day ends, let me rest in the quiet assurance that living with purpose is not about perfection, but presence, showing up with a willing heart, leaning into your guidance, and trusting that you use every moment, every choice, every act of love to shape a story bigger than I can imagine. Father, as the strength from the previous moment lingers softly within me, I sense you drawing me toward a deeper surrender. The peace you planted and the purpose you awaken now prepare my heart for something quieter, yet more courageous. The willingness to let you redefine the direction of my life. I realize that some of the roads I once followed no longer reflect who I am becoming. And this realization settles over me with both tenderness and clarity. Lord, teach me to recognize when a familiar path is no longer meant to carry me. Help me release the pressure to force progress where peace has already departed. Show me that letting go is not a sign of weakness, but a step toward alignment with what is true and life-giving. Remind me gently that you never call me to remain in places that dim my spirit or restrict my growth. There are moments when I look back and wonder why certain desires faded or why specific doors closed, even when I approached them with hope. Yet as I breathe slowly in this quiet space, I feel you reminding me that your vision stretches farther than mine. You see the unseen turns, the hidden burdens, the timing required to prepare my soul. You redirect my steps not to confuse me, but to protect me and to lead me into greater fullness. Father, reveal the places where fear held me too tightly to what was familiar. Show me where I resisted change because I believed certainty was safer than trust. Untangle the assumptions I built around what my life must look like and replace them with a willingness to follow where your presence leads. Even when the path curves gently out of sight, when unexpected shifts pull me away from what I once expected, steady my breath. When my timelines unravel, anchor my heart in your assurance that you are never rushed and never late. Teach me to measure progress not by how quickly I move, but by how deeply I surrender. Let each step I take be guided by peace instead of pressure, trust instead of fear. God, reshape my path in ways that awaken the truest parts of me. Remove the expectations I adopted from others and the pressures I placed on myself in moments of insecurity. Replace them with desires shaped by compassion, honesty, and quiet conviction. Lead me into choices that reflect healing rather than habit, freedom rather than fear, intention rather than impulse. Teach me not to fear becoming someone new. Remind me that growth does not erase who I have been, but reveals more of who I am meant to be. Help me honor my past without trapping myself inside it. Let love thread through every transformation, keeping me grounded even when I feel uncertain. As I step into the unfolding hours of this day, keep my spirit attentive to your gentle guidance. Let me notice the small nudges within, the subtle shifts in my emotions, the quiet invitations that whisper of new direction. Give me wisdom to discern which opportunities carry your fingerprint and which ones are distractions dressed as possibilities. And when a door closes, teach me to release it without bitterness. Let gratitude soften the endings so new beginnings can rise without resistance. Help me trust that every closure makes room for something more aligned with who I am becoming. Lord, continue shaping my path until it reflects the fullness of your intention for my life. Draw me toward authenticity, patience, and depth. Let each step remind me that I am guided by a love that has never wavered. And as I move forward, let me walk with quiet confidence, knowing I am held, supported, and continually formed by your wisdom. Father, remind me that surrender is not a moment, but a posture, a way of moving through life with openness and expectancy. Let this posture soften the tension I sometimes hold in my chest and ease the doubts that try to rise when I cannot see the full picture. Teach me to lean into the peace that comes from trusting that you are already at work in places I have not yet reached. Let this assurance settle into the foundation of my decisions, my intentions, and my hopes. Guide me to walk forward without rushing. Help me honor the pace of growth you set for me, knowing that what is built slowly often lasts longer and reaches deeper. Let patience become a companion rather than a burden, and let curiosity replace the fear of the unknown. And as I continue this journey, keep reminding me that every step surrendered to you becomes a step shaped by grace. Let this journey unfold gently, guided by your steady presence, shaping my heart with wisdom and quiet courage as I follow where you lead. Lord, as the redefined path begins to settle gently within my heart, I feel you drawing me toward a deeper clarity, a wisdom that rises not from my own understanding, but from your steady guidance. The journey ahead feels softer yet more intentional, shaped by surrender and strengthened by trust. I come into this moment aware that I cannot walk forward on insight alone. I need the quiet wisdom that flows from your presence, the direction that steadies my thoughts and brings peace to my decisions. Father, teach me to recognize the difference between impulse and wisdom. Help me pause before choices that carry weight, breathing slowly until my anxious thoughts quiet enough to hear your voice. Let wisdom soften the noise inside me, clearing away assumptions, fears, and hurried conclusions. Let it become the gentle illumination that reveals what is true, what is necessary, and what aligns with the deeper calling you are shaping within me. Lord, remind me that wisdom does not always arrive as sudden revelation. Sometimes it comes as a steady whisper, a subtle shift, a quiet knowing that grows gradually in the stillness. Help me honor these gentle movements and trust that they carry your fingerprint. Let me not dismiss the small nudges that encourage me to slow down, reconsider, or take a different approach. Teach me to hold space for clarity to form rather than forcing quick answers. Father, shape my mind so it responds with discernment rather than reaction. When emotions rise, help me anchor myself in patience. When confusion clouds my confidence, remind me that wisdom unfolds in layers. Let discernment guide my conversations, my intentions, and the posture of my heart. Let it help me recognize when to speak and when to remain silent, when to move and when to wait. God, protect me from the temptation to lean on my own understanding. Free me from the pressure to solve everything alone. Help me remember that wisdom begins with acknowledging my limitations and turning my attention toward you. Let humility open the door for insight, and let trust create the space for your guidance to take root. As I step deeper into this day, let wisdom shape the rhythm of my actions. Show me how to approach challenges with calm curiosity rather than fear. Guide my thoughts so they lean toward truth rather than assumption. Let wisdom influence the choices I make, the boundaries I set, and the opportunities I pursue. Teach me to evaluate each step with clarity rather than urgency. Lord, let your wisdom guard my heart from unnecessary burdens. Show me which responsibilities are mine to carry and which ones I must release. Help me recognize where I have overextended myself, where I have taken on roles that belong to others, and where I have ignored the gentle warnings in my spirit. Let wisdom help me create balance, not by withdrawing from purpose, but by aligning with what is healthy and sustainable. Father, let wisdom deepen my compassion. Help me see beyond surface reactions into the quiet struggles others may be holding. Teach me to respond with empathy rather than judgment. Let wisdom strengthen my patience, reminding me that every person is walking through battles I cannot always see. Shape my presence so that it carries understanding and gentleness. As I move through uncertain moments, let wisdom remain a steady companion. When I face decisions that stretch my faith, remind me that I do not walk into them alone. When fear suggests that I will fail, let wisdom anchor me in the truth that you are already preparing the way ahead. When I feel overwhelmed, let wisdom slow my pace and guide me back to stillness. God, fill my spirit with the confidence that your wisdom is always available to those who seek it with sincerity. Let this assurance quiet my doubts and steady my resolve. And as I continue on this unfolding journey, let your wisdom form the foundation beneath my steps, lighting the path with clarity, tenderness, and unwavering truth. Lord, let this wisdom remind me that growth does not require certainty, only willingness. Let it steady the places within me that still feel unsure, easing the tension that rises when outcomes remain unseen. Help me trust that every piece of insight you provide arrives at the perfect time, neither too early nor too late. Let this trust calm my thoughts and open my heart to possibilities I have not yet considered. Teach me to welcome wisdom not as a rigid instruction, but as a living guidance that adapts to the spaces where I most need clarity. Father, let wisdom become the quiet strength within my decisions. Let it shape the way I interpret challenges, reminding me that obstacles can carry hidden invitations to grow. Let it open my eyes to opportunities that fear once obscured. And as I continue forward, let wisdom flow through every breath, grounding me in confidence that I am being led with care and shaped with intention. Lord, as wisdom settles gently within me like a soft light, spreading across the quiet corners of my spirit, I feel you drawing me even deeper, not into activity, not into striving, but into stillness. A stillness that is not empty but full, not silent but resonant with your presence. I sense you inviting me to stop reaching, stop trying to grasp, stop preparing for the next step, and simply be with you in this sacred quiet. Father, teach me how to dwell in this stillness without rushing through it. Help me release the urge to fill the silence with thought or movement. Let me rest in the awareness that stillness is not a pause from the journey, it is part of the journey. It is here, in this moment without hurry, that you speak to me not in loud revelations, but in gentle impressions that settle softly upon my heart. Lord, quiet the noise inside me. Silence the echoes of fear that replay old worries. Calm the restlessness that urges me to move before I receive direction. Let this stillness become the place where my spirit realigns, where I remember who you are and who I am in you. Teach me to breathe deeply until my soul unclenches and my thoughts grow tender again. Father, help me understand that stillness is not inactivity, it is intentional openness. It is the willingness to listen without demanding answers, to wait without growing tense, to rest without feeling unproductive. It is the sacred space where trust takes root and grows stronger, where expectations soften and surrender deepens. Lord, meet me here in this place where words fade and awareness sharpens. Show me how to recognize your nearness not through signs or outcomes, but through the steady warmth that settles in my chest, through the clarity that gently rises without force, through the peace that replaces anxieties I once thought immovable. As I linger in this quiet space, Let stillness reveal the things I have overlooked, the fatigue I carried unspoken, the grief I tucked away, the hope that flickered beneath the surface, the longings I silenced because they felt too tender to touch. Let stillness become a mirror where I see myself with honesty, yet held with compassion. Father, let this sacred quiet teach me to be gentle with myself. Remind me that I am not defined by constant motion or continual productivity. Remind me that rest is holy, that slowness is not failure, and that renewal often begins in the places where I allow myself to stop striving. Help me see that you do not measure me by what I accomplish, but by how willing I am to dwell with you. Lord, let this stillness also change the way I move forward. Let it soften my tone when I speak, calm my reactions when challenges rise, and steady my emotions when uncertainty enters the room. Let it shape the rhythm of my day, allowing me to return to this quiet space again and again, even for a moment, when life becomes heavy. As I sit in this place of rest, teach me to release the burdens I have been carrying out of habit. Show me what is no longer mine to hold. Let me feel the weight lift, slowly but unmistakably, as you remind me that I am not meant to walk through life overwhelmed. Let stillness become the place where I give you my heaviness in exchange for your peace. Father, let this sacred quiet deepen my awareness of your presence. Let me feel you in the softness of my breath, in the calmness settling over my mind, in the strength that rises from simply being held by you. Teach me to trust this stillness even when nothing seems to change outwardly, knowing that transformation often begins where the world cannot see. And as I rise from this moment, let the stillness remain within me like a gentle undercurrent. Let it move with me into every conversation, every decision, every moment of waiting. Let it become my safe place, my reminder that no matter what unfolds, I can return here, to this quiet sanctuary where I am known, loved, and restored by you, Lord. As this long journey of prayer reaches its final turning, I feel a quiet fullness settling gently within me. Every whispered plea, every moment of surrender, every breath drawn in trust has carried me toward this place where my heart feels steadier, clearer, and more open. I come now not to close anything, but to gather the strength, peace, and hope you have been shaping within me across every chapter of this walk. I arrive with gratitude, aware that nothing in this journey was wasted, and everything played a part in forming who I am becoming in your presence. Father, thank you for every moment of comfort you offered when my spirit trembled. Thank you for the light you placed in the dark corners of my doubts. Thank you for teaching me to breathe again when life felt too heavy to hold. As I stand at this threshold between reflection and renewal, let every lesson settle into my spirit with gentleness. Let the wisdom gained become steady ground beneath my steps, and let the peace I have learned to embrace continue flowing quietly through every part of my life. Lord, as I prepare to move into the day ahead, help me carry the tenderness of this journey with me. Let every prayer whispered in weakness now rise as strength. Let every moment of surrender become a reminder that I am never alone. Let each breath drawn in trust remind me that hope is not fragile but alive. Teach me to walk forward with a heart softened by compassion, widened by understanding, and lifted by the quiet courage you have planted within me. Father, help me remember that this journey was not meant to end here. It is a foundation for the days to come, a place I can return to whenever I need reassurance, clarity, or rest. Let the truths uncovered in these quiet hours shape the choices I make, the tone of my voice, the way I approach those I love, and the posture of my heart when challenges arise. Let these prayers continue echoing within me like a gentle rhythm guiding my day. Lord, remind me that transformation happens not in a single moment, but through the unfolding of many small steps. Help me see that every quiet shift in my thoughts, every softened reaction, every moment of patience, and every spark of hope is part of a deeper work taking root within me. Let this awareness steady me so I do not grow discouraged when progress comes slowly. Teach me to celebrate the subtle growth you cultivate in the shadows. Father, let today become a reflection of all I have received. Let kindness flow more easily from me. Let gratitude become a natural response. Let patience rise before frustration. Let wisdom guide my decisions. Let compassion shape my interactions. Let hope anchor me when uncertainty stirs. And let trust become the gentle thread weaving every moment together. Help me walk with intention, knowing that every step becomes sacred when taken with you. Lord, bless the person listening to these words. Wrap them in comfort where they feel fragile. Strengthen them where they feel stretched thin. Speak peace into the places where fear still tries to linger. Let them sense how deeply they are held, how endlessly they are loved, and how faithfully you continue to guide them. Let this final chapter feel like an embrace, a reminder that their journey matters, that their prayers are heard, and that their spirit is seen. Father, thank you for walking with them through every chapter. Thank you for every tear you softened, every burden you lifted, every question you met with patience. Thank you for shaping resilience where they once felt weakness, and clarity where confusion once settled. Thank you for the quiet transformations that took place in moments they might not even recognize yet. Lord, as this chapter draws to its gentle close, let it open into something new. Let the listeners step into their day with renewed confidence. Let courage rise softly in their chest. Let peace rest upon their shoulders like a warm mantle. Let hope move through them like fresh air. And let love guide them, steady them, and root them in the truth that they are never walking alone. To the one who has walked this journey to the end, thank you for giving your heart the gift of this time. Thank you for choosing stillness when the world pulled you toward noise. Thank you for allowing yourself to feel, to reflect, to breathe, and to grow. This path was shaped by your courage. These prayers were carried by your willingness, and every quiet moment has become part of your unfolding strength. If this journey has touched you, I invite you to share your feelings or your own prayer below. Your words may lift someone who needs encouragement. If these prayers have been meaningful, I welcome you to subscribe, to share this video, and to keep nurturing your faith each day. May your day open like a calm dawn,